Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. And before we get down to it today, I got to shout out my cat, one of my cats, Cole. There's Cole, asleep down here. Hi, Cole. Say hi. Say hi, Cole. You alive, Cole? Say hi, Cole. Okay, today is Cole's 8th birthday, so happy birthday to my Coco, as I call her. Now I'm going to talk about the Indiana Fever game against the Connecticut Sun. I did a live stream a couple hours or so ago in which we really got into the situation with Caitlin Clark, the officiating, the physicality that's allowed, the commissioner. It got emotional during the live stream. You can go back and watch that if you want to. I'm not going to be covering everything that I said in that video in which I talked about how Caitlin Clark is treated in this league and the disrespect and the no whistles and the all of it. Not gonna talk about all that again. We talked about that. In this video, I'm going to expand upon that and I'm going to talk about other players in the Indiana Fever and how they too were treated with utter disrespect by the Connecticut Sun, number one, and then also by the officials. I'm going to start with Aaliyah Boston, an exchange she had with Tina Charles. I call it an exchange. It really wasn't an exchange, wrong wording. It was Tina Charles just being like a bully. I have a hard time finding the words for what I saw last night and the fact that it seemed to be okay to treat Aaliyah Boston the way she was treated. And Tina Charles didn't get thrown out of the game. Nothing. It's just didn't get flagrant one. Nothing. It's just unbelievable. And let's just go to it. I'm going to be showing a few video clips from X. So make sure that you go to the description of this video because that's where I'm going to put all the information. You know, I want to give credit to the people whose platforms I have taken content from. So all that information is going to be in the description of this video. Now we're going to go over to what I'm talking about, Tina Charles and her takedown of Aaliyah Boston. We'll take a look at it first and then we'll talk about it.
There's definitely some jockeying for positioning happening. Oh.
You can hear the commentator there saying, oh, she starts off by saying there's some jockeying. So you got two bigs trying to get position. And let me just turn this sound down or off. You got two bigs trying to get position. And then Tina Charles hits Aaliyah Boston, basically whacks her in the face and then throws her down. And I mean, throws her down with a follow through on the throwdown, throws her down and then stares on top of her as she's down there. And Aaliyah Boston, this video clip cuts off before we can see it, but she's down there for a minute because she's hurt. So there it is again. And this whack throws her down, hits her, throws her down. And Aaliyah is on her knees, but she has to get down to the floor because that's how badly she was hurt. As you can also see, the official is right here, clearly looking. But apparently this doesn't warrant anything extra. Unbelievable. I'm not in favor of violence and fighting or anything like that, but I am just going to make an observation, and that is this. There is no universe where a player does what we just saw and a complete brawl doesn't break out. There's no universe where I am in the vicinity of watching something like that, whether it's a loved one, whether it's a neighbor I have, whether it's a colleague I have. There's just no universe where this is tolerated and where this isn't confronted. But this is the WNBA. And players know that they can get away with doing what we saw there. What we saw there is despicable enough. What Tina Charles did is despicable enough. But it makes it worse because Aaliyah Boston is like the nicest person you can ever meet. She's been tougher this season in the post, but again, she's like the nicest person. I mean, some of the criticism she receives from some people is because they think she's too nice. And so when you see her hit across the face and thrown down like that, and then standing over her like that, and then her going down like this league, these players know they can get away with what we just saw right there. And so they do it because the officials standing right there. I don't know what their problem is. And then you've got a commissioner who doesn't nip this stuff in the bud. It's infuriating, to say the least. So that's one thing we got to see. The other two things I'm going to show you involve Sophie Cunningham. So we're going to go back to X. Sophie gets called for stepping out of bounds on this play. As you can see right here, Aaliyah Boston has the ball. Sophie Cunningham is in the left corner. Let's go.
Cunningham loving that baseline tonight. Turns it over. So Indiana up 4.
Now, don't be fooled by the smile on Sophie's face. It wasn't a, hey, friendly, how you doing smile. JC Sheldon playing the way we have seen her play, bumping into people with her body, which is a foul. There was no foul called here. Instead, it was a turnover for Indiana. Sophie Cunningham was called for being out of bounds. These are the officials who are calling these games. So here you can see it again. It's the pass, goes baseline, and then gets bumped right out of bounds. She's called for out of bounds, and the official is standing right here. She's right here. You see my pointer? She's right here. And then you can see Sophie with her hands out like, what are you doing? What is this? And then, of course, she says something, smile on the face, but she told him, this was a foul. Okay, so the smile wasn't, you're right, I was out of bounds. No, it's more of the same mess, is what she's saying. More of the same mess. Those are the words I'm putting in her mouth. Ridiculous. And something has to be done about JC Sheldon. She just does whatever she wants on the floor. Welcome to the W. This next clip is also Sophie. Let's go back to X. Watch for the elbow to Sophie's head and neck area. No foul called.
Clark on that possession. Clark on that possession.
I'm sure you saw. You can see right here, she sees Sophie coming. Now remember, the last time we played, Indiana played Connecticut, there was a lot of drama. Marina Mabry, Tina Charles, JC Sheldon, right? Sophie with the takedown of Sheldon. She sees Sophie right here coming over. She slides over and watch. Elbow right to her. Sophie goes down. The official is right here watching the whole thing. Nothing was called. Now, I want you to notice something. Sophie is the ultimate competitor, right? She's going to be in the play. She's going to hop up and get right back to it, right? Usually. In this case, absolutely not. While the ball is still live, she gets up and she heads right over to the official. Because I remember during the live stream, I was yelling, Sophie, get back in the play, get back in the play. But Sophie is not trying to get back in the play right now. She's making her way over to the official. There it is again. She gets up and she goes right to the official. And she's telling the official, I was elbowed. I'm telling you right now that under different circumstances, it would have been on. This is a game that was so very close. And in a situation like this, when you're trying to win games, you're trying to string together wins, has a way of kind of keeping you from doing what you would normally do. Now, Sophie, instead of going after her, she went over to the official. In other situations, might not have been that way. She knows what's up right there. And she just said, okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say something. But for her to walk away from the play, it tells you she's heated. She's had enough. And so I think in this situation here, the game was so close that there was, you can't get thrown out of games. You can't get technicals. And it's one of the reasons why we say with the Indiana Fever, this team has got to have a cushion, because when it's close, the officials dictate it. And whether they're dictating it by blowing their whistle when they shouldn't, or not blowing their whistle when they should, like we saw, or whether it's a situation where I can't afford to get thrown out of this game, I can't afford to get teed up, whether you're a player or coach, it just becomes a lot more difficult because the officials, obviously, there's a problem. And so I don't know how you stand there, see the elbow that takes her down, and refuse to blow your whistle. I'm speechless. And that doesn't happen a lot, as you probably can tell. This league it's got some problems. That's an understatement. We've been talking about them since Caitlin came into the league, because I came back to the league with Caitlin Clark, and all the eyeballs that are on this league. There's going to be a decision that's going to have to be made at some point for this league. Do you want to be a serious league? Do you want what we are seeing here? AB taken down, Sophie bumped out of bounds, and then boom, right to the neck, and all the stuff Caitlin Clark takes all the time. This league is probably going to have to make a decision at some point. I don't know when that point will be, but people are getting fed up. People are getting fed up. I'll leave it at that. Once again, the Indiana Fever will play the New York Liberty. Caitlin is listed as questionable. I don't know what that means when they say day-to-day questionable, other than they don't want to give away too much information, I guess. But I won't be on the live stream tonight. I've explained to you guys I'll get home sometime after that, and then I'll watch it after the fact. I'll stay off social media and all that, so I don't know what happens. But it's going to be interesting. This league has great opportunity right now, and they're absolutely ruining it. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.